Welcome back to Murder with the Missus. I'm Darren.
And I'm Amy. And today we're going to talk about Lori Vallow Daybell.
Don't forget to smash that like button. Check out the description for the links of all of our podcast platforms, Cash App, and Buy Me a Coffee. Like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to tell your friends. Welcome back, everybody.
Heyo.
We have been getting a lot of views on our shorts.
That's true.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate it.
Yep. So, you guys got time to subscribe, tell your friends, tell everybody.
Do it. Share.
We would greatly appreciate it.
Yes.
Anyway, on with the story.
Okay, so this is another widely well-known one, but Darren hasn't heard of it, and apparently he's not the only one, so I'm here talking about it. And there's a lot to get through, so we're probably going to be doing this as a two-part episode. So here we go.
Deuce, baby.
Lori was born in 1973 in California, and she was raised in a Mormon family. Her parents followed the sovereign citizen ideology. When she was 19 years old, she married her high school boyfriend, and they divorced pretty quickly after that. He would be husband number one. She married husband number two in 1995, and they had their son, Colby. Now, some of you might follow his YouTube channel. If you don't, check him out. It's really good. But Lori found herself divorced again in 1998. Now, she competed in the Mrs. Texas and pageant, and she was on Wheel of Fortune. And it seems like she took a liking to being in the spotlight or being the center of attention. You'll see more of that as we go through this story. In 2001, she married Joseph Ryan. Now, he legally adopted Colby, and then they had a daughter, Tylee, in 2002. But alas, husband number three wouldn't last long. Lori said that he was abusing the kids, and that is a fact that Colby would back up in 2020. So, yeah.
So, then he has to go, obviously.
He has to go, yes. Can't stay around here.
No.
So Lori's brother, Alex Cox, would spend 3 months in jail after he attacked Joseph in 2007. So the family was involved. In 2018, Joseph would be found in his apartment where he had died of an apparent heart attack. Now, she married husband number 4 in 2006. Now, this was Leland Charles Anthony Vallow. And we're going to refer to him as Charles for the rest of the case because that's what he went by. And hold on to your biscuits because it's about to get wild.
We're already on husband number 4. It's been getting a little wild anyway.
It has. But don't worry, he won't be the last husband.
Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm. In 2013, Lori and Charles adopted Charles's grandnephew. Now, this is Joshua Jackson Vallow, or JJ. He had been born 10 weeks premature, and he had drugs in his system. And so that you understand what's happening here, this is Lori's 4th marriage, and she has 2 kids. And this is Charles's 3rd marriage, and he has 2 kids. So then they adopt JJ. So we're looking at a total of 5 kids between them. For the first 10 months or so, Charles's sister and brother-in-law, Kay and Larry, took care of JJ, but then Charles and Lori officially adopted him. Lori was a hairdresser, and Charles sold life insurance and annuities. They lived in Arizona, but they moved to Kauai in 2014 and lived there for over 3 years before they came back to Chandler, Arizona in 2017. Times were not great. JJ had been diagnosed with severe autism when they were in Hawaii, and he was only like 3 years old when he got that diagnosis. Most of the kids were grown, which only left JJ and Tylee at home. And even though Charles had been in Tylee's life since she was 3, as a teenager, they fought so much they had to go to counseling. So once back in Arizona, they put JJ into a special school that could help with his needs for his autism.
Well, at least that part is good.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah.
Because it's only going to get much, much worse.
Great.
Starting in 2015, Lori started getting into Chad Daybell's series, Standing in Holy Places. Now, Chad was a gravedigger turned author and speaker. He was married to Tammy, and they had 5 kids of their own. Chad was also Mormon, but he was considered a radical Mormon.
You said grave digger?
He was a grave digger, yes.
Like he dug the graves?
He dug graves for a living, yeah. He was that and a sexton with the church, which is like a maintenance person. So he says he had 2 near-death experiences, which Lori would later go on to say 3. But he says that tore the veil. And so he was able to have supernatural visions. Now, Lori would later say that, like I said, he had 3, but they were apparently also preparing for the end of times. So that's why if you ever hear about this case, or if you haven't and you hear now and you want to go research and get more details and stuff, you'll see that it's the doomsday cult is what they call it on all the things. So he wrote a lot of books saying, I don't fictionalize any of the events portrayed. I'm really not that creative. My torn veil allows information to be downloaded into my brain from the other side. The scenes I am shown are really what will happen. So he's getting visions.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've seen and heard, he has predicted a couple of events that didn't quite happen. Like in 2015, when he said that Utah was going to be devastated by an earthquake. So he and Tammy up and moved to Rexburg, Idaho to get away from it. But that didn't happen. Things like that, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But Lori didn't care. She was hooked. She said that she had died while she was giving birth to Tylee, and that had given her special powers too.
Of course.
Of course. So in 2018, Lori and a couple of friends went to a Preparing the People event, and they met Chad in person. And Lori was apparently very flirtatious.
Hello, husband number 5.
Right? Like Mambo number 5, she's going through husbands.
Would you like a drink of Kool-Aid?
No. She's happily married to Charles, okay? But Chad is telling her that they had been married in multiple previous lives. He had lived some 31 lives on different planets, and she had lived about 21. But in 5 of those lives, they were actually here on Earth, and each time they had been married to each other. Now, in one of them, he was James, and she was Elena.
Good grief.
Yeah.
James and Elena.
Yeah, that was their past life where they were married on Earth. Those were their names. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Some people have like dreams where they, was this person in past life, or
Very true.
I mean, have you seen those photos like where like was it Keanu Reeves?
Yeah.
He's immortal.
Right.
And it shows like them, from like
way
in the
back.
1800s or whatever, and he's like
exactly
whatever,
the same.
and then you got like Leonardo DiCaprio the same way, and all them. I mean, it's like they're all vampires. Tom Cruise,
the lizard people,
they're literal vampires. Anyway,
yep. Well,
but those are pretty cool though, because they actually show the photos.
Mm-hmm.
But
I hope they're real photos and not some kind of internet.
I mean, it'd be pretty cool though. I mean, to see like a photo from back then, and it kind of looks similar.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, it could be,
That's my great grandpappy.
But I mean, even if he was like, I have no relation to that person whatsoever,
That'd be
but
even
he
weirder.
looks, I mean, I look just like that dude.
It's true.
I mean, it could be like one of them, I don't know.
You never know.
Just one of the things.
Now, not long after this event that they went to for Preparing for the People, or whatever it is, Lori had an overnight thing at her house when Charles was out on a business trip, and she invited Chad, and he came.
Mm-hmm.
And then he started the Church of the Firstborn. Now, Chad and Lori were on some podcasts that were not acceptable by the LDS Church.
No way.
Yeah, they're like, y'all are a little too out there. We're going to need you to rein it back in or get out. And people were suspecting that Chad and Lori were, hold on, having an affair. What? How could they even think that? One friend told them to divorce their people. Like, she needed to divorce Charles. He needed to divorce Tammy if they were going to be acting like this. But they said they couldn't because of information they were getting from the other side of the veil. And they also had this rating system in place where you would rate people from light to dark.
Oh, so they're judgy.
In the worst kind of way.
Gotcha.
So if you were deemed to be dark and then you became a Z or a zombie, you actually had died and your body was possessed by an evil spirit. Now, the only way to banish a zombie is to kill them. So keep that in mind. Some people in the group would either get together in person or do a quick Zoom meeting to hold a casting. Now, this is where they would try to pray an evil spirit out of a body, and it never worked. Chad is going around saying that the world is going to end on July 22nd of 2020. And he also tells people that Lori is a goddess who gets visions. So she doesn't just get visions. She's now a goddess. Together, they're going to lead the 144,000 people who would survive the end of the world. So that's all they're saying is going to make it when the world ends.
On July 22nd of 2020?
Yep.
Oh, well, okay.
Yep. Now,
I mean, it's not very many, but,
that's a literal drop in the bucket compared to the population of the earth. And now I spent a bit of time trying to figure out the best way to present the next parts. Since the cases are so well known, most will know that Lori's second trial just finished. So I think I'll keep the timeline going and then we can break down the recent trial. In February of 2019, Lori took off and left JJ with Charles. And I mean, she was gone. No communication after she left. She literally disappeared for 58 days. And Charles went ahead and filed for divorce. He was telling him that she threatened his life, stole his truck, and took $35,000 out of their joint bank account. He said that Lori told him that he was possessed by a dark spirit named Ned Schneider. No shit. I couldn't make that up. She was telling him that she was a god. And she was going to lead those 144,000 people at Christ's second coming. And that if he got in the way of her mission, she'd kill him. So that was the death threat. He did file for a protective order. And there's body cam footage of him talking to the cops about it, if you want to find it online and watch it. About a month later, he withdrew it all because he wanted to make it work in the marriage. I don't know why, but he did. But on June 28th, he found out about Lori and Chad's affair. Now, at this time, Lori was obviously back from her hiatus of wherever she went, but Charles had already moved back to Texas. So they were in Arizona, and then when she left, he moved to Texas to be near his sister and the rest of his family. And then here comes Lori back. Like, what am I supposed to do? So he's renting a house in Texas. And around mid-June or so, Lori, Tylee, and JJ move into a house that Charles rents for them in Arizona because Lori is hellbent that JJ get back to that special school. She was like literally upset. I've said literally like 100 times. She was very upset that Charles had moved to Texas and taken JJ out of that school. So she made him feel bad and was like, you need to bring him back so he can go back to school. And in order to do that, well, we're going to have to live there. So go ahead and rent me a house while you're at it.
So now he's renting two houses?
Now he's renting two houses.
Or paying to rent on two houses?
He is in two different states.
Well.
Yeah, because Lori wasn't working. So he's paying for all the things.
Well, no, I mean, she's too busy, thinking she's a god.
She's a god. Why would a god have to work?
She's leading 144,000 people for the second coming and everything. And
absolutely.
I mean, well.
I know. How would you expect her to go cut somebody's hair when she has all these special visions and powers? That's just ridiculous. Now, he and Lori had planned for him to come and pick up JJ on July 11th.
I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. First of all, she ain't no god.
No, I don't think you're going to get any hate. There's enough.
And, you think she's a god, fight me. Just saying.
Fight me.
Yeah. I'll argue. Anyway, go ahead.
On July 11th, they had made plans for Charles to fly to Arizona so that he could take JJ to school in the morning. So it's like, we can come take him to school. And so he flies from Texas to Arizona. That morning, on July 11th, a 911 call comes in that Charles has been shot in Lori's house. Now, police arrive and a man comes out of the house. Lori's brother, Alex Cox. He is the one who had called 911. And he and Charles are the only ones in the house. And Charles has been shot twice and is deceased on the floor. Now, Alex does have a knot on the back of his head and some blood that he's dabbing with a paper towel or napkin that you can also see in body cam footage, but he does refuse medical treatment. Now, a red car pulls up, and it's Lori and Tylee. In all of the interviews, they say that Charles got JJ, put him in the rental car, remember, because he flew in, so he's driving in that red rental car, because Lori had told him, you need to take him to Burger King for breakfast before school. So he gets JJ, he puts him in the car, but his cell phone is still in the house. So he had to go inside and get it, but Lori wouldn't give it to him. He chased her around the house screaming for his phone, which woke up Tylee and Alex. Tylee came out of her room with a baseball bat, and she and Charles wrestled for it before Tylee fell to the floor. So Alex gets involved, and Charles hit him on the back of the head with the bat, so that would be why his head was bleeding. Lori sent Tylee outside to be with JJ in safety, and Lori takes off with the phone. Now, Charles is going after her still, but with the bat now, and then Lori hears a gunshot.
So she didn't see the shooting?
No. She says she went around a wall, so there's like an opening on both sides of the wall. She went around that wall, so she only heard the shot. She goes out and gets in the car and leaves with the kids. She took them to Burger King.
Why Burger King?
JJ likes chicken fries and Sprite for breakfast, and with his autism, routine is important. Yeah.
You was getting to that. I was jumping ahead. I'm like, man, why Burger King? I mean, why is it so specific, Burger King?
Well, I was very upset that I found out that they could, in Arizona, go to Burger King and get chicken fries at 8 o'clock in the morning, because here there's like times.
Oh, yeah.
Breakfast till this time, and then
10:30, 11 o'clock. You can't get nothing else before then.
Exactly, unless it's breakfast.
Yeah.
But here, apparently, you can get full menu all day. It's not a big deal. Then, so they leave Burger King and they go to Walgreens, where she buys 2 pairs of flip-flops, because her and Tylee have ran out of the house in like fear, and they don't have shoes on. And this is July in Arizona, so the ground is hot. And they have to walk JJ into school, so they need these flip-flops to cover their feet, because I guess they don't do drop-off lines there, because heaven forbid you not use the drop-off line here. And by the time they get back to the house, the cops are already there. So they all give statements separately at the police station and go on about their day. By the end of August, Lori has rehomed JJ's service dog, and I cannot find where that dog was the day of the shooting. I'm not sure why that dog didn't jump into the fight, because when dogs sense trouble, they try to help, right? But I didn't see where that was. Now, she called JJ's school and withdrew him from school. And she told them that Charles had harmed himself. Okay. And that she had got a job offer in California, so they were moving. But she did not go to California. Lori, Tylee, and JJ moved to, drumroll please, Rexburg, Idaho.
Where Chad lives.
Where Chad lives. Yeah. So I think we'll take a moment right here before we get more into this to hear from our sponsor for today's podcast.
Yep. Hang out with us. We'll be right back.
Do you or someone you know live in an apartment community? Are you balling on a budget? Make your money work for you.
Some apartments don't even offer a washer and dryer included in the lease. If you want that life, you need to contact My Laundry Solutions.
They service areas in Oklahoma, Missouri, and Texas. Their newest location is in Fort Worth, with more locations opening in Texas in 2025 and 2026. Check the website for locations near you. There's no credit check. Every contract includes free local service. They professionally install, and your account is available 24/7 online. Go to your leasing office, go to mylaundrysolutions.com, or call 800-535-4411.
Stop wasting your hard-earned money at the laundromat and give My Laundry Solutions a call today.
Today.
Give them a call. Man, My Laundry Solutions, the people that own it, or the man who owns it, the guy, the legend, whatever, however you want to say it. Anyway, he is an awesome dude. And I mean, he has us do these ads and everything, and he does the giveaways with us and everything. And I mean, he's just a genuinely great guy, and we love working with him, and we're happy that he works with us and allows us to help do this and everything. So go check him out. He does have great deals, and you guys won't regret it.
You won't regret it. Okay, so now we're in Idaho. Neighbors are saying that JJ is outside, unsupervised, a lot of the time. And when they talked to Lori about it, she didn't tell them that he had autism. She told them that he was her niece's drug baby. That's pleasant. On September 9th, there are pictures all over the internet now that show where Lori, JJ, Tylee, and Alex were at Yellowstone National Park. And they're all smiling, having a good time. Lori then told people that Tylee was going to school at BYU, Idaho. Now, she's only 16 years old, but she had pancreatitis, according to Lori, so she missed a lot of school. So she ended up getting her GED early, and so now she's apparently going to college. So she was not at the house anymore. On September 22nd, Lori's friend Melanie Gibb and her boyfriend Daniel were at Lori's house. There is another picture here showing JJ sitting on the couch in his red pajamas. You can see it on our case pic. So that bottom middle picture is Tylee at Yellowstone, and the bottom right picture is JJ in his pajamas. And he's sitting on the couch. But Melanie and Daniel were there to record a podcast. And sometime between 9 and I believe she said midnight, she couldn't narrow it down. She thought it might have been around 10:30. Lori's brother, Alex, took JJ outside. And they were outside for quite some time when Alex came back in carrying a sleeping JJ over his shoulder. The next morning, between 8 and 9 a.m., the guests wanted to say goodbye to JJ. But Lori said that JJ had a lot of energy that morning. He was climbing around on the cabinets and he knocked a picture of Jesus off the refrigerator. So she called Alex to come and pick him up. So they didn't get to say goodbye because JJ was already gone. Lori was telling Melanie, though, maybe she could tell Kay that she was sick and then Kay would take JJ in. And then later, Melanie told Dateline that she saw Lori at a later time without JJ. And Lori told her that she had told Kay all that. She told Kay she had cancer, and Kay met her at the airport and got JJ. So, I mean, Kay's trying to help her out.
And so she didn't have cancer?
She did not have cancer. She was just trying to get rid of JJ. Now, on September 23rd, JJ had an unexcused absence at school, obviously. The next day, Lori called the school saying that she would be homeschooling JJ from now on. Now, there are two Melanies in this case. There's Melanie Gibb, the friend that we've just talked about, and then there's her niece, Melanie Boudreau, which I think is funny because people will refer to her as Melanice, so that you know which one is which. But on October 2nd, Melanie Boudreau's ex-husband, or not ex, they were in the middle of a divorce, so he was her estranged husband at the time. But he was shot at while he was driving home in Gilbert, Arizona. Now, he saw a Jeep that looked familiar, and it had the spare tire missing off the back of it, because, you know, they just hang there. He got the plate number and gave it to the police, and it came back as registered to Charles Vallow. Now, this was the Jeep that Tylee would drive. A week later, on October 9th, Chad's wife, Tammy Daybell, called the cops saying that she was approached in her driveway by a masked man with what looked like a paintball gun. But when he pulled the trigger, it just clicked. And so the guy ran off. Now, she tells the cops, I think somebody's running around trying to prank people and shoot them with a paintball gun. 10 days later, Chad and one of their sons came home to find Tammy dead.
I mean, what's happening here? I mean,
right?
Never mind. I got a pretty good idea. So, I mean,
right?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, Chad said that she had been taking homeopathic medicine lately and was having low blood pressure and seizures. And she had went to bed the night before with a horrible cough and must have died in her sleep.
Of course, Chad said this.
Chad said
Gotcha.
this. And the coroner thought, yep, that sounds about right. So they did nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Her funeral was just 3 days later, so people thought that that was some pretty quick funeral planning on Chad's part. During the service, Chad reportedly said that Tammy was suffering from depression, was not easy to live with, and she was lazy. That's a loving tribute to your wife. The day after the funeral, Chad introduced his kids to Lori. And Chad introduced her to the neighbors. But when he introduced her to the neighbors, which are also his friends, he told them that she had a daughter who recently passed away.
You mean husband?
He said, daughter. Dun, dun, dun. 2 weeks after Tammy's sudden death, on November 5th, Chad and Lori got married in Hawaii. They would find out later that Lori had ordered a pair of wedding rings in August, so a month after Charles died and a couple of months before Tammy died. Yeah. She also did a search for wedding dresses the day Tammy was buried. She's a class act.
Wow.
Chad, with zero authority, gave Alex a patriarchal blessing, saying that Alex had assisted him and Lori, quote, in ways that can never be repaid, end quote, calling Alex a prophet and a hero, saying he would have a future as a messenger of the Lord.
No.
They found a recording of this blessing on Lori's iCloud account, so that's how we know what all he said. Now, it was on November 26th that Charles's sister, Kay Woodcock, called the police to do a welfare check on JJ.
What?
Yeah. So the cops rock up to Lori's townhouse in Rexburg, and they find Alex and Chad. Alex says, oh yeah, JJ? Yeah, he's with his grandma, Kay. He didn't know that Kay's the one who called them because she hadn't seen or heard from 7-year-old JJ in quite a while. Alex referred to Chad as his friend, not his brother-in-law. And Chad told them that he hardly even knew Lori.
Golly.
Yeah. So the cops call Lori, and she tells them, oh no, JJ's not with Kay. JJ's with my friend Melanie Gibb in Arizona. Now, Melanie would originally tell the cops, yes, she had JJ at one point, but then she confessed that she hadn't seen him in months. She later testified and provided a recorded phone conversation of her asking Chad and Lori why they told her to tell the cops that she had JJ, because they had both called her and been like, when the cops call, tell them you have him. And she did at first. Ugh. Now they just try to blow it off and tell her that they're just trying to keep him safe. That's all they're doing. He's fine. Don't worry about him. The FBI rolled up to Lori's house the next day, but no one was home. Neighbors said that they had been loading up a truck the night before. Now in December, Lori's brother Alex, the one who killed Charles, he did pass away from apparent blood clots. So, are you adding this up? I hope y'all are mathing because there's a lot of death. Now, it would be a month later that Lori and Chad would be served papers poolside at a resort in Kauai. There's a video of this online that you can watch. Lori's laying in the lounger in her bikini. Chad's next to her in his shorts. And they're just like, you Chad and Lori, here's some papers. It's been shown a lot online. But the papers say that a judge is telling her that she has 5 days to bring those kids in person so that somebody can put some eyes on them. That didn't happen. So on February 20th of 2020, Lori was arrested in Hawaii and extradited back to Ohio.
She killed them kids.
I didn't say that.
Did she kill them?
And I didn't mean Ohio, I meant Idaho. I didn't say that. She was charged with 2 felony counts of desertion and non-support of dependent children, along with some misdemeanors. Now, this was already making headlines because everybody's like, okay, so you charged her for leaving her kids, but where did she leave them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So people are following them around and catching her in public and asking her, where's your kids? So with her $1 million bond, now that she's in Idaho, she was shopping around for a bond company, but she had a really hard time because nobody wanted to do business with her because this was all over the news around there. Nobody wanted to put up their money because she runs a lot. Like she keeps going back and forth. Arizona, Idaho, Texas, Hawaii, like, she won't sit still. Chad even tried to get his neighbor friends to put their house up to get her out, because he got $430,000 in life insurance money from Tammy's death, but he needed a lot more than that. And it would be June 9th that the police would go to Chad's house and dig up his yard, a place that he called the Pet Cemetery, because that's where they would bury cats and dogs on their land when they would pass away. And they would find the remains of both Tylee and JJ.
Man, I told you.
You did. But I couldn't spoil it.
Golly.
I know. It's so sad. So now Chad is in jail too. And so much has come out in the investigations. I'm not going to spend like too much time on their trials, just give you the information of what came out. But I will say that Lori's oldest son, Colby, on his YouTube channel, he finally took a call from Lori from the jail, because he had been ignoring her since the kids went missing. Mm-hmm. He had been ignoring her. And so he finally took a call from her from jail, recorded it for his podcast. And Lori told Colby that Tylee had accidentally killed JJ and then hurt herself.
What?
Yes.
But Tylee went missing first.
Yes. Yes. And they didn't know that at first, right? Because it was while they were looking for JJ that they realized Tylee was missing too. Mm. And they find out that she was never enrolled in any school in Idaho. Now, in October 2019, so this is after both kids were already gone, Colby got 2 Venmo payments from Tylee's account. And he texted her, like he was worried, like what is going on? And her phone texted him back saying that she was safe but too busy to talk. And he didn't have any communication with her after that. Now we know that when Lori and Chad's car was taken by the police in Hawaii, they found like the Social Security cards, the kids' electronics, Tylee's debit card, so many copies of Charles's death certificate, and hella cash. So it seems like Lori had been making Colby think that Tylee was still alive when she wasn't. Now, trigger warning here, because I'm about to tell you a little bit about how the kids were found, the state that they were found in. So you may want to skip ahead a few minutes if you don't want to hear that. It is gruesome, but it is important. Now, 7-year-old JJ had died of asphyxia. He was suffocated by duct tape over his mouth. He had white bags over his head. Duct tape were around his ankles, forearms, and hands. He had bruises on his right arm and scratch-like abrasions on his neck, which to me was like it's one of the saddest things I've ever heard, because that means he was probably trying to get it off.
Yeah.
He was still wearing that red pajama set from that picture when he was on the couch. Yeah. 16-year-old Tylee had ibuprofen and caffeine in her system. They know that her body had been brought in for autopsy in multiple bags. She had charred bones and pieces of flesh. She had been dismembered and set on fire. Now, the FBI found sharp force markings on her bones. Her cause of death is listed as homicide by unspecified means. Yeah.
So, there goes the story that she hurt herself.
Right, that she hurt JJ.
Or, that she hurt JJ and then hurt herself.
Right. Yeah.
You
can't cut yourself up.
You're going to sit there and tell me she dismembered her damn self?
Exactly.
Come on. Why is this still even in court?
Oh, because there's so many people that died. They didn't try them all in one case. Now, Lori sticks by her story to this day that it was Tylee who did it. But the FBI have text messages between Lori and Chad where they talk about the kids being possessed. And they weren't the only ones either. Before Chad's wife Tammy died in her sleep, there were texts between the gruesome twosome saying that Tammy was possessed by a spirit named Viola. And they were telling their followers that she had already become a zombie. Now, the day before Alex died, Lori and Chad had told him that they had been informed that they were exhuming Tammy's body. Now, because they started looking into the kids and found the kids' bodies, they thought maybe we might need to look into Tammy too. So they did an autopsy on her finally and found out that her actual cause of death was asphyxiation by someone else, meaning she didn't accidentally asphyxiate. She didn't do it to herself, causing self-harm. Someone else had to do it.
Well, no kidding.
Yeah. And I think that's where we'll stop for this one because there's still a whole lot to go.
Yeah.
Now, be sure to check out part 2 to hear what all comes out at trial. You can message us on Facebook if you have any case suggestions or send them to dna.truecrime@gmail.com. And if you like our content, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Yep. And don't forget to tell your friends.
Tell them all.
Yep. So catch us on the next one. That is it for this one. That's part 1. Come back for part 2. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye.